Hi, Pastor Ed here. A few days ago, my daughter was driving her car down Interstate 65, where from nowhere a rock hit her windshield and caused a crack from one end of the windshield to the other. And that crack is ugly. That crack limits vision. So today, I'm going to take her car to the shop in Homewood and have that windshield repaired. That experience of my daughter on I-65 reminds me that we can use our imagination and try to image that over your heart is a window. Over your spiritual heart is a glass window. And all of us in our journey of life have rocks that hit that window and cause a crack. Maybe your rock has been loneliness that has caused you pain and caused a crack in the window over your heart. Maybe it's been depression. Maybe it's been addiction. Maybe it's been pain of suffering from despair. Maybe it's been anger. Whatever it's been, all of us are broken people. And all of us have had a rock in life to hit the window around our heart and cause a crack. In the Gospel of John, in chapter 8, there is a story of Jesus one day preaching in the synagogue. And a group of men bring a lady into the synagogue and they throw her down at the floor before him. And they say to Jesus, "This woman has committed adultery, and the law says we should stone her to death. What do you suggest, Jesus?" And Jesus looked at that woman, and he knew that the window around her heart was cracked. The stone of adultery, her bad decisions to have relationships with men, had infected her life. He looked at her, and then he looked up at those men, and he made this statement. He said, "Those of you who have never sinned before, those of you who have no cracks in the window around your heart, throw the first stone." And all those men looked at each other, and they began to drop their sack of stones, and they walked away, because they all knew they were broken, and they all knew that they were guilty. And then Jesus looked at the woman, and all that time she'd been looking down at the earth with guilt. And Jesus said, "Look at me." And she looked up at the first time at Jesus into his eyes. And then Jesus said, "I will not stone you either. Go and sin no more." That day, Jesus gave that woman a choice to continue living in adultery, or a choice to follow him and have that crack in the window go away and have a sense of wholeness. She chose Jesus, and she chose the wholeness in her life. You know, I wish that in that story, and it's not there, but I wish it was there, I wish that those men came back to the synagogue and that they all knelt down at Jesus' feet and they all said to him, "Jesus, the window around our heart is also cracked. We are also sinners. We also have done some bad things in our lives. We are guilty. Please forgive us. Please forgive us." And he would have said the same thing to them as he said to that woman, "Go and sin no more. You are forgiven." The grace of Jesus. You know, we live in a community, we live in a country, we live in a world where we're all broken, but sometimes we are like the men in that scripture. We have a sack of stones, and we see other people that are broken, and we call them names, and we make fun of them. And we see them just as objects or as things. Just like those men saw that woman there around the synagogue. They saw her not as a person, just an object, just a thing to be stoned. And so we're guilty, like them, of trying to stone others and make fun of them and put them down. And that's not right, because we are broken also. We also have the shattered window around our heart. And so we also need the grace of Jesus, not to be the judge, and not to put others down and call them names and make them feel unworthy, but to realize that we're all children of God, that we're all part of God's family. We're all His sons and daughters. He loves us all, and we're called to care for each other in the way that Christ teaches us. Let me give you one more story before we're through that happened on a Sunday morning in the Scripture. It's early Sunday morning, and a group of women are going to the tomb of Jesus. And the glass around their heart is shattered because they are in great sorrow. That rock of His death has hit their glass. And they're in pain, and they are sadness. And as they approach the tomb, they notice the rock is rolled away. And sitting on top of the rock is an angel. Sitting on top of the stone is an angel. And in this story, you don't have an angel throwing stones at them for their broken windows. No, instead you have an angel that shares with them good news. Good news, great news. She says to those women, Jesus is risen. Jesus is no longer dead. He is alive. And when those women heard those words from that angel, that shattered window began to heal, and they felt wholeness around their heart. And they went out proclaiming that Christ is Lord. Christ is Lord. He is risen. In our lives, remember that Christ has risen for us as well. He takes away our brokenness. He takes away that break in the window around our hearts with His wonderful grace. Therefore, may you and I, this day and the days that we have on the earth, go out and just love God's family and love each other. You know, it's harder to love than it is to hate, because when you love someone, you have to be patient and gentle and kind and thoughtful. But when you hate someone, there's no demands there. There's no demand to be thoughtful. There's no patience. There's no kindness. There's no gentleness. It's hard and complex to love. It's easy to hate. We are God's children. We are called to love. So this day, may you go out in love, knowing the grace of God has taken away that crack in your heart, that window around your heart. He loves you so much. May we pass His love on to others. God bless you. I hope to see you soon. Be safe.